Hi, welcome back to the Spirit Lounge. Hope you guys are doing really well and having a wonderful day and week. So today I want to discuss the purpose of life, as is the title of this video. And I want to discuss the purpose of life and what that actually is and where it's leading to, and the real meaning towards expansion. So what is life anyway? It's life is something we create through free will. It's totally and utterly governed through free will, in fact. And life, from a spiritual and esoteric perspective, we come into life with predetermined goals and objectives that we wish to achieve from this lifetime, and we do that by designing in or placing in crossroads. Could be people, could be places, could be events and synchronicities in life that we wish to pass through and experience so that we can grow. And these are predetermined elements of our lives. They're not a large part of our life, actually. It's different degrees depending on what our life plan has actually been, the purpose of us being here. And for some of us it's for major steps in growth, for others it's moderate, incremental, the others it's small. It just depends on what our own individual purpose was for being here, will determine how many of those predetermined events, synchronicities, people, experiences, crossroads, whatever we wish to call them, they may be in our lives that we experience. But it's ultimately free will determine how we react to those, and whether we achieve our objectives and goals for life. And the rest of it is really up to us as to what we want to experience, to address our pre-tendencies that we have. We bring those in with us, and free will determine whether we repeat those paradigms and tendencies, or whether we move forward into different spectrums of experience and expand ourselves. And we do that through creating timelines, through every intention, every action, every word, every thought creates a timeline. And we have multiple timelines in the quantum and Akasha. And it's the one that we give the most force to through those actions, words, thoughts, and intentions, is the one that we will experience. We can switch and change from those timelines at will, depending on the force that we put to those. Which one is given the most light, if you like, through energy and force. Energy is force. Is the one we'll experience. We create many timelines all the time, different possibilities of experience all of the time. And the one we will experience will be the one we'll give the most energetic force. And through those intentions, action, words, and thoughts, we create karma, either good, negative, or positive. It's all experience. And we do all of this through free will. And this determines our life experiences. And our life experience is had in what we call a bubble. Our life experience is our conscious acts and subconscious acts. It's our consciousness as a whole. And that consciousness resides in our bubble. And the bubble is our life, our experience as human beings. And that bubble can be either myopic or it can be expanded. A myopic bubble will be very small. We'll live in a very tiny shell with very narrow vision, tunnel vision. We won't perceive very much around us other than what we see right in front of us, or what the media or television may say to us. Or we're very limited in our scope, in our thinking, in our feeling, in our perception, our use of our five senses. We just have a very limited scope of life, and what we do, our intentions, action, words, and thoughts are very limited to, almost you could say, just existing in life. We could say that, where people just exist and just persevere, and just trudge along. Could be something we could regard as having a very small bubble of life where there's not much in there, not much content or substance in it other than just really existing. And that can be there for many, many, many reasons. There's no judgment in any of that. And there could be the other opposite end of the spectrum, where someone's bubble very large, very wide, very expansive, where they've opened themselves out to greater physical, mental, emotional, spiritual and energetic frequency, whereas in the smaller myopic bubble, I guess those are limited experiences that we may have in those layers of experience, which we'll go into. Someone may be practicing and discovering themselves, moving into that spiritual journey, for example, in that very expanded state, so their bubble is much, much wider. And either anything in between and either spectrum, there is no judgment, it's just our own. And it really tends to be determined by our previous lives. Our tendencies we bring in will determine the bubble we start, and we can either shrink or expand that bubble from which we created before. It's really up to us in free will. And what is it consisting in that bubble? Well, there's layers of experience and expansion in that bubble. The first one is physical. We expand in our physical bodies. We look after our bodies. We tend to its physical state. We understand and we are silent. We tend to, being expanded in physical is to be present within the body, to be one with the body itself, to know it's ours, we own it, we are responsible for its maintenance and its longevity. It sustains our physical experience and our five sense perception experience. And it's for us to expand and use it for what it's here for, and more than just physical labour, if you like, is to expand the physical body, to experience through it, and use it as a vessel for experience, to be one and centered within the body. The next layer is the mental expansion. And what that is, that's really expanding our mind, to open our minds up to beyond the physical intellectualism, for example, or beyond abject ignorance as another aspect, is to open the mind up and to allow it to perceive and process what is received from other areas of feeling within the more energetic feeling body, to open ourselves to philosophy, to reading, to understanding different ideas, to alternatives, perceptions and perspectives, to what our world truly is around us, how it functions, how it truly functions in the seen and the unseen layers. Just to open our minds out and not to be bogged down through ideology, philosophy, doctrine, religion, program belief, herded mentalities, fear. To expand the mind is to remove fear. The more we are expanded in mind and body and the other layers, the less fear we will have. The less we are, the more fear we will have, the more fearful we can be led to become. Now, mind is a capacity, it's a physical organ in that we use. And I'm not of the belief or the feeling whatsoever that all of us, that there are those amongst us who are better, I suppose, minds than others. We all have the same. It's the use of that mind which is different. And why do some of us not use the mind as much as others? Why are some of us perceived not intellectual as others from an early age or throughout life? Well, it tends to be tendency. This is what I described before in a previous video on tendency. Tendency is things that behavioural patterns and how we've used life in the past and what expansion we've achieved in the past. And that relates to mind. If in previous lives we've remained ignorant, we've not used the mind at all for its capacities and used it to expand ourselves, this will entrain a tendency within the Akasha or quantum field. When we're born into different lifetimes, we always pick up what we left off from the past in terms of tendencies, paradigms, belief systems, ideologies, behaviours and patterns that we've created in previous lifetimes, and we pick those all up. And we bring those with us in our lives, resolved, unresolved, and yet to be discovered tendencies. Bring them all with us. And those in every lifetime is what we're here to address. And we often have a life plan, a predetermined life plan to address some of those tendencies. and paradigms that we've existed before. And if one of those has been to keep limited, to use our capacity of mind in a very limited manner through ignorance, or just not looking at expanding the mind at all and not challenging it to grow, then we will bring that back in another lifetime. If someone's gained huge intellectual or mass intellectualism or expansions of use of mind in previous lifetimes, they will be equal as in where they're left off in terms of their intellect or use of the capacities and capabilities of mind in the next lifetime. So our use of the vessel and its mind is determined by how we've used it before in each lifetime. We're not born, no one's born stupid, no one's born without the capacity to think in expanded states. It just depends on whether we've actually attempted to do that or not in previous lifetimes, or we've attempted to do it in this lifetime. It's a slow step forward, but we've always got to make those slow leaps forward. Lifetimes are infinite and eternal, remember. So use the mind as much as possible in this lifetime so you can use it more in the next, and move forward every time. So it's mental expansion, openness, opening the mind from the myopic to the unlimited. Then there's the emotional state. It's our feelings, our emotional state of ourselves, how we feel about ourselves, our anxieties, our stresses, our oneness with ourselves, our happiness, contentment, forgiveness of others, acceptance, gratitude. All of these feelings, and reversing those more denser emotions that we have within us of fear, stress, anxiety, misplacement. And those are the things of the emotional side that we need to address and expand out of. And we do that through expanding the physical, going through expansion of the physical, the mind, and the emotional. These layers are very tied together, linked together, and expand our human vessel, if you like, our experience in the human vessel. And the fourth one is spiritual. Through the expansion and movement of within the physical self, the oneness within the body, the expansion of the mind and increasing our use of its capacities and capabilities, not moving towards egoistic intellectualism, that's very different, that will just create further blindness, but moving to a very open and expanded state of mind, which will bring knowledge and knowing from all spectrums and sources, increasing that and developing the use of the mind, being one with ourselves, contented, at peace, loving the self, to be able to then love the other, to have gratitude and peace and forgiveness and unity, true unity with our fellow human beings and fellow spirits, and share and know that we are all that we are all that is in a oneness and unity in this universe, is the spiritual self. When you expand those other three states, you'll automatically move into spiritual expansion. It'll be an implicit movement. You won't need to ask for it. You'll just move into that place. Because once we're at stability and peace and oneness with the physical, mind and emotion, we start venturing out within what is the spirit. What are we? Where are we? Where do we come from? What is our true state? This is the spiritual expansion. This is an inevitable end for everyone. This is an inevitable movement within that path, that journey forward, which this channel is all about, is to move into these, to understand what the spiritual expansion is. All four of those, the physical, mental, emotional and spiritual, together, as they move forward and expand, increase the energetic frequency of state, of our being. If we're dense vibrational beings of myopic perception, just obsessive materialism, physical desire and all of those trappings of what we call denser vibrational activities, behaviors, sensitivities, proclivities, those have a low vibrational frequency. Or we can move to much more expanded states of high resonance and frequency, bringing in and attracting other more high resonance frequency signs, synchronicities, numbers, symbols, events, people and places. It's like the Schumann resonance of the universe. It's a high frequency Schumann resonance which resonates through the universe and increases in its resonance, cascades throughout the galaxy through us, and we absorb it into our bodies when we're outside. It's raising our frequency to a much higher vibration so we move forward in every incarnational life. And this bubble contains all 5 of those layers of expansive element: physical, mental, emotional, spiritual, and energetic. And they are our bubble. They are constituent parts of our bubble, surrounded by free will, karma, timelines, intentions, actions, words, and thoughts of universal law. And we expand out. Our purpose in life is to expand this bubble outward, infinitely, eternally outward, with no boundaries, no sensitivities, growth into the universal divine unity of one, which is what we're trying to move our bubble into. Has no boundaries, has no ideology, no religion, no preconceived gods or deities. It is infinite and it is one. It is feeling and it is motion, it is thought, it is energy. And this bubble needs to move into something. It needs to resonate with something. And what is that resonance within us? That it needs this bubble of our conscious, subconscious being, human experience bubble self, of the physical, mental, emotional, spiritual, and energetic state. It needs to move into something. It needs to resonate with something. What is it seeking to resonate? What is the purpose? Well, it's the spirit and the soul. Within us is the infinite divine spirit or the soul. Call it whatever you wish. The Krishna or Christ consciousness, whatever you may wish to call it. The light of the shining spirit within. It what animates this body, it what speaks to you now, is that spirit. And that spirit is always eternal. It's divine already. It enters this body as your true I, the real self. And it's always divine, it's always all-knowing, it's everywhere, it's omnipresent, omniscient, omnipotent, present self of the true I of you. And this resonates the divine unity of one, the source, the Christ consciousness, Krishna consciousness, the one, the God, the Godhead. This divine spirit within is that. It's always present. Our challenge in life, ultimately, which is the purpose in life, is to expand our bubble, raise its frequency and resonance into our spirit that waits for us to resonate into it. We don't come here to expand our soul and spirit because it's already in a divine infinite state. We, as bubbles of experience, are looking to move through every incarnational life, our bubble of frequency and resonance, physical, mental, emotional, spiritual, and energetic, into the resonance of our eternal spirit, which is waiting for us within to reconnect. We can reconnect to it at any point on this journey, and we expand out into it, out into this spirit within. And the end result of all of that, through lifetimes and lifetimes of experience and expansion, is we resonate sufficiently high frequency that incarnational life no longer has a purpose for us. And that is what they call in esoteric spirituality, or the Hindu esoteric, as moksha, or in Buddhist or Hinduism and other religious philosophies, spiritual philosophies, is the release from the cycle of rebirth. That is ultimately the objective for all of us. Outside of the trappings of our free will experience of being what we want to be, experience what we wish to experience, grow, accumulate, desire, whatever we wish to pass through. These physical trappings of the world, the physical experiences of the beautiful nature that we have around us, the world itself, the sky, the stars, the star and the planets around us, the cosmos, the people, love, grace, the negative tendencies, the positive ones. All of those things are experiences of being human, which is all part of the bubble expansion. But ultimately, at the end of incarnational life, what we're really achieving, which is the transcendental piece of existence, the purpose of life, is to remove oneself from the cycle of rebirth, because it's one we take through choice, because it requires us to learn from it, to get to a point where we don't need to do that anymore. And we move out into this divine unity of one, and we follow a different purpose. We start growing in different ways, beyond this, beyond the body, beyond the trappings of materialism, to grow whilst in the body to the state of the unity of one, to become all that is and all that we are whilst in form. That is the true purpose of life. So thank you for listening. I appreciate it, again, as usual. Please like, share, subscribe this to others that you think will benefit. I pass on my perceptions through my own journey. I'm not a world-renowned guru or esoteric practitioner. I don't have millions or hundreds of thousands or hardly any followers. But that's not the point. The point is we can all share. We don't need to be well known. Truth is the truth, just as spiritual expansion is spiritual expansion. It doesn't care what we think. It doesn't have a need for popularity or justification or to be recognized for itself. It just is. And moving to that place, each and every one of us has that capacity and intention in life. So thanks very much again. Appreciate it, and have a great day, great week, and love to you all. Thank you. Bye-bye.